And thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Rob Elgis.
And I'm Liz Nagy in for Cheryl Burton. We want to get right to this breaking news we're following out of northwest suburban Crystal Lake right now. Police say 4 people are hurt after a car crashed into a restaurant. You can see the broken glass there as Chopper 7 HD flew over the Buffalo Wings on Rings in Claremont Drive. Police say 4 adults were in the car, and while it tried to park, it went right into the building.
This is live right now, Chopper 7 HD. Here's the video. The car was just towed away minutes ago. This is the video that they had pulled it out of the building. You can see some of the broken glass that they're now repairing in that live video. Police say the injuries range from minor to serious. The driver was not hurt. We have a crew headed out in northwest suburbs. We're going to update you as we learn more tonight. The search for a missing Navy sailor in the north suburbs has been called off for the day. Seamus Gray was last seen leaving a bar early Saturday morning. That bar not located far from the lakefront in Waukegan. Michelle Gallardo shares what we've learned about this young sailor.
The search was suspended around 1:30 this afternoon. Waukegan police telling us they believe they've exhausted this particular stretch of the lakefront, but they say they will be back tomorrow when they will extend their search farther south, closer to the naval station's North Chicago spot, this time along with the help of the U.S. Navy. A missing Navy recruit and the desperate search to find him 6 days after he was last seen alive.
That's my boy. That's my guy. His little brother is 14 and it is my son's role model. He's my life. So please help find Seamus.
A sign that Navy Station Great Lakes 21-year-old Seamus Gray went missing in the early morning hours of Saturday after leaving Waukegan's Ibiza bar. But he was not reported missing with Waukegan police until Tuesday.
The Navy had reached out to the mother, but it was unknown where his whereabouts were. He didn't report back to the base, which is not in Waukegan. But it wasn't until some days later that they had some information that they uncovered that determined that he was in fact in Waukegan.
Today's search on land and in the water was, for the second day in a row, concentrated along the city's lakefront.
Overnight, we received some more video down here at the lakefront from some of the businesses at the marinas that were showing Seamus right on the water's edge.
Among those volunteering to help is Ibiza's manager, the bar sharing this surveillance video that shows the missing sailor dressed in red moments after being escorted outside to his friends. Gray had, they said, been there briefly earlier in the evening. When he returned near closing time, he was intoxicated and asked to leave. Minutes later, he is seen walking away alone through a back alley behind the bar.
We've sat with his mom yesterday for over 3 hours at our business with the detectives, went over all the footage.
Gray's mother is beside herself with grief.
There's 3 things my son lives for. He lives for his family, he lives for God, and he lives for his country. He came here to fight for his country, and now he's missing.
The search is expected to resume around 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. In Waukegan, I'm Michelle Gallardo, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Michelle, thank you. We have this breaking news out of Bridgeview, the village under a water boil advisory right now. This comes after a water main break earlier today, and you see crews working to repair that break. Village says people should boil water for 5 minutes before using it to drink, cook, or brush their teeth. It's time for a look at our weather forecast on this Thursday. Sun trying to peek out. Yeah, I guess. It's trying so hard. Yeah,
It is not warm out there.
No, it hasn't been. We haven't had it. Even though spring, what did it start, Monday?
Was it Monday?
Right, we don't even know. It started Monday.
It was Monday, yeah.
Okay, I was like,
they just kind of blend together, don't they? Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it.
No.
We're not close. It doesn't sound like it will for the next couple days. It's nice to have you on the 7th, both of you, really. Yeah. What a treat to have you both
Get the
with
band
me.
back together a little bit.
Yeah, here we go,
it's nice
Larry.
to be here, and you know we've got some non-spring-like weather coming our way. It's going to feel more like winter, especially on Saturday. Right now, you can see the cloud cover that's with us. A few breaks in the clouds from the city northward, and even some sprinkles down to the south. The heavier thunderstorms are downstate and stretching back into Missouri, where they've got severe weather concerns. There's the cold front. Look at the temperatures behind the front. 30s and 40s here. 60s, though, in Carbondale. 67 right now in Cincinnati. It's only 36 in Waukegan and 36 at Northerly Island. Gary's down to 37. So overall, just a cold evening for us. Tomorrow, another chilly day. Cloudy skies with temperatures in the mid to low 40s. But later tomorrow evening is when the rain settles in. And it will start as rain tomorrow night into early Saturday morning. but then we'll get the changeover to snow, and that rain-snow line, well, it'll creep southward during the morning on Saturday. So some of us will get some snow showers on Saturday, especially in the morning, and some of that snow is going to stick to the ground. Could get a couple inches in the far northwestern suburbs. We'll talk more about the snow potential and the chilly rest of your forecast all coming up.
Okay, we'll see you again in a few minutes, Larry. Thank you. There's a new effort to fight the rise of carjackings here in Chicago. And today, Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Janulius announced $21 million in new funding. Evelyn Holmes spoke with the secretary, who says he was carjacked years ago, and also another victim.
They both had guns. One pressed it against the side of my head, and they said, "Give me the keys."
John Hendren says he never imagined he'd become the victim of a carjacking while making a quick run to a store in the city's South Loop neighborhood. It happened Saturday night around 8:30 as the international news reporter went out to buy a cake for his wife's birthday. Hendren is the husband of ABC 7 reporter Liz Nagy. He was targeted as he got into his car.
I mean, I live in the South Loop. I don't live in Baghdad. And suddenly I go to Target and I'm not safe at this place. I've gone hundreds of times.
This type of brazen carjacking, along with car thefts, is exactly what Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Janulius hopes to combat as he gives millions of dollars in grant money to local and state police organizations. Janulius, who was the victim of a carjacking himself when he was a senior in high school, made the announcement today at the Thompson Center.
And now, having 3 daughters of my own, the thought of that happening and my kids' lives being at stake is something that scares me.
To stop crime, you got to solve crime, and to solve crime, you have to have the resources.
The Chicago Police Department made and continues to make every effort to keep Chicagoans and their property safe. That's why this investment is so important.
Meanwhile, John Hendren is still processing a range of emotions, including anger, as he hopes to be able to get his beloved dream car back.
I feel like there's nowhere you can go and be certain that you can be safe in Chicago right now, and something needs to be done about that.
Evelyn Holmes, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
I'm glad John shared his story.
Yeah.
I know you were upset too.
Well, of course. I mean, it rocks your sense of security, whatever security you may have walking around this city. So it rocks your sense of security going to a place that you know. But I mean, his case is absolutely a lesson in what to do, because just give them what they are asking
and
for.
You had told us in the newsroom before we were sharing this that that's what he did.
Right. And in his case, too, I thought was interesting. He thought to never make eye contact with them, because that way it seemed more of a threat. You can't identify them or something. You can't identify them, but you're going to get out of there okay.
And, but you bring up the point that this is a popular place.
Parked people 3 spaces outside the door of the Target.
Yeah, I mean, this is right not far from here. People go with families all the time because that Target, you can get anything there. Right. It's really a large big box store down here in the city.
Right, and it happened at 8:30 on a Saturday night and said that these guys were speaking quietly because there were other people in the parking lot when this happened.
They didn't see it.
They didn't see it. So not only be aware of your own surroundings, but what is happening to people around you, too.
I'm glad John's okay. And you were a trooper that night because you were here anchoring. And I don't know how you did it, Liz.
Well, as long as he was okay, that was all that really
guy,
mattered.
And
so
I'm glad he's safe, too.
The car's just a thing. So.
He's already working on assignment again.
He is. He's off and going.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Of course. The longtime staffer for former Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan testified today in the trial of the so-called ComEd 4. Will Cousineau testified about secretly recorded discussions from 2018 regarding leadership assignments in the General Assembly for the coming year. Cousineau was given an immunity letter from the U.S. Attorney's Office. The ComEd 4 are accused of trying to bribe Madigan in order to get favorable legislation.
18-year-old being held on bond tonight, charged with reckless homicide in a crash that killed a grandmother from Northwest Indiana. A 78-year-old Zainab Subo died, and prosecutors say Correll Purnell hit the car carrying Subo and 3 generations of her family. This happened Tuesday night. We told you about it that night at Peterson and Kimball on Chicago's northwest side. 2 children ages 3 and 7 were also seriously hurt.
The CEO of TikTok was on Capitol Hill today and faced tough questions about that wildly popular social media app. Some lawmakers believe it's a security threat and should be banned. ABC's Lindsay Watts is on Capitol Hill tonight.
On Capitol Hill today, a tale of 2 TikToks. CEO Shou Chew saying TikTok is an app focused on free expression for its more than 150 million American users.
Our app is a place where people can be creative and curious, and where close to 5 million American businesses, mostly small businesses, go to find new customers and to fuel their growth.
But several lawmakers on the House Energy and Commerce Committee, where Chu appeared, see something much different, a threat to America's national security.
It's been said it's like allowing the Soviet Union the power to produce Saturday morning cartoons during the Cold War, but much more powerful and much more dangerous.
Chu facing tough questions from both Republicans and Democrats.
Welcome to the most bipartisan committee in Congress.
The biggest concerns over TikTok's ties to China.
TikTok is a weapon by the Chinese Communist Party to spy on you, manipulate what you see, and exploit for future generations.
Congresswoman, I have seen no evidence that the Chinese government has access to that data. They have never asked us. We have not provided.
I find that actually preposterous.
But previously, ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, acknowledged some China-based TikTok employees had accessed and monitored the data of a pair of American journalists. Those employees were later fired. TikTok users from across the nation packed the hearing. Some in attendance say losing the app would destroy their businesses, like Callie Goodwin, who sells greeting cards.
I think that so much of our community and the way that people find us and how we interact with our customers and our sales is driven by TikTok.
The Biden administration has demanded TikTok's Chinese owner sell its stake in the app. And now today, China is responding, saying Beijing will resolutely oppose any sale. Lindsay Watts, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Lindsay, thank you. Parents in Denver, Colorado demanding stronger safety measures. One day after a school shooting, around 1,000 students rallied at the state capitol today, pushing for gun reform. And sources tell ABC News the suspect, Austin Lyle, had previously brought a gun to school. The two administrators were injured in the shooting at East High School yesterday. That suspect later shot himself.
A court ruling could set a new precedent for the parents of school shooters. The Michigan Court of Appeals ruled today that Ethan Crumbley's parents will stand trial for the 2021 Oxford High School shooting that left 4 people dead. James and Jennifer Crumbley each face 4 charges of involuntary manslaughter. The judge said the Crumbleys were aware their son was thinking about carrying out that shooting. The Crumbleys' attorneys said they argue they should not be held accountable, and they've pleaded not guilty.
A new poll shows the Chicago mayor's race is anyone's to win. Paul Vallis with a slim lead over Brandon Johnson, but within the margin of error in this poll. Political reporter Craig Wall has more on the poll and some insight on which voters could make the difference.
The newest poll, good news for Brandon Johnson, who has all but erased the lead Paul Vallis held earlier this month. The poll by Victory Research done this week showing Vallis is still out front at 46.3%, but Johnson right behind at 44.2%, with 9.6% still undecided. With a margin of error of 3.5%, the race could go either way.
It looks like Brandon Johnson has some momentum, but we've still got a week or so out, so I think that it means it's going to be a very close race down to the end.
The poll shows Johnson has now solidified much of the black vote, having secured many of those who had supported Lori Lightfoot in the first round, and the endorsement from Chuy Garcia has helped him with progressives. Vallis is countered with some high-profile black endorsements, including Bobby Rush. He's also doing very well with white voters.
The two demographic groups that are not fully committed yet are the Hispanic voters and North Lakefront voters. Neither candidate has really reached out and grabbed their heart yet, as they have on the other parts of the city.
Johnson, who was not out in public today, issuing a statement saying, in part, polling at 44% today after starting at 2.3% in December is evidence that people are responding to Brandon's vision for a better, safer, and stronger Chicago. Vallis continuing to court endorsements in the black community, expressing confidence in his campaign.
We have our data. We know how we're doing. We know whether or not our message is resonating, and we're very positive that we're headed for victory on April 4th.
With the race expected to go down to the wire, both campaigns know that the key to victory may be in how well they are able to get out their voters. Early voting is already underway. Election Day just 12 days away. Craig Wall, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Craig, the Lime e-scooter company has a deal for anyone who wants a ride to the polls to vote. Now through Election Day, you can get a 50% discount on rides to and from a polling place. You have to use the promo code Chicago Election 2023. The Manhattan grand jury reviewing evidence in the hush money case connected to former President Trump is expected to reconvene next week. Sources tell ABC News one more witness may need to be called to testify on Monday. But as Mr. Trump awaits a possible indictment in that case, he faces a setback in a separate investigation. A lawyer representing the former president in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case is now preparing to appear before a grand jury tomorrow.
Now to a package thief captured on home security video, robbing people of their deliveries and then taking off on a bicycle. This is happening in the city's Pilsen neighborhood. Leah Hope has more on the thefts that have residents on guard.
Yesterday morning, a Pilsen resident made a startling discovery on her back porch.
Open my door and I see a man standing there in a jacket with a hood, a surgical mask on, latex gloves on, and he quickly paused, so I knew he wasn't supposed to be there, and he ran away.
The neighbor did not want to be identified, but she and other neighbors shared video of what they say is the same man taking packages from two buildings in the 700 block of West 17th Street and the same block of 17th Place prior to accessing the resident's back porch. The man on a bike is also seen going around the rear of buildings, taking a bike and a golf bag, then leaving quickly.
The fact that he actually entered my property, breaking and entering, I would think it's really disturbing. It's a violation of privacy. And I want other neighbors to be aware and to be on guard.
Another resident who also did not want to be identified shared her reaction.
It just adds an element of uncertainty and a little bit of frustration and a little fear, actually.
Chicago police tell us so far they have one reported theft on these blocks. Regardless, neighbors on these blocks tell us they've already taken additional measures to secure their buildings and their property. In the Pilsen neighborhood, Leah Hope, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Uprising Bakery hit its fundraising goal, but the owner says she's still not decided about whether or not to stay open. The Lake in the Hills business was vandalized last summer after it announced plans to host a drag show brunch. More than $37,000 has been raised to help repair the damage. The cash infusion could keep the bakery open, but the owner says she's now weighing her options after facing what she calls horrific attacks and endless harassment.
A group dedicated to helping people with spinal cord related disabilities has honored two people in our area with its yearly Socrates Award. The Brennan Rehabilitation Foundation gave one of those awards to Chicago police officer Danny Golden, remember, left paralyzed by a shooting last year. The other recipient is young Cooper Roberts. The 8-year-old survived the Highland Park parade shooting in July. The Socrates Award goes to spinal cord injury survivors who have shown perseverance during their recovery. Both those.
I was going to say, certainly both of those.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
Now to an Eyewitness News exclusive. We're going inside new state-of-the-art quiet rooms for Cook County Sheriff's 911 dispatchers.
The rooms are designed to give them a break from the stress and demands of answering hours and hours of emergency phone calls. Our Mark Rivera has this exclusive look at how these rooms are benefiting not only 911 dispatchers, but ultimately the people who call them for help.
Okay, sir, what is the address?
Cook County Sheriff's Police telecommunicator Michelle Dorn loves her job.
They're going to always remember when they had to call 911. So it's always good to be that person who helped them through it, who got them the help.
But at times it can be mentally exhausting.
We are pretty much the first responder. So we get the initial calls of people screaming, their initial panic of situations that they're in.
That's where these brand new quiet rooms with light therapy at the Cook County 911 Dispatch Center in Des Plaines come in.
If I've had a stressful day at work, be it a bad phone call or busy radio traffic with the officers, I can come back here and just sit in a quiet room away from the noise and the hectic, things that happen in a 911 center.
They were designed by Dr. Joel Robertson to help these dispatchers communicate with you in their best frame of mind, because when they're stressed,
if we let that physiology run, if we let it run without being able to back it down quickly, cortisol is released, adrenaline's released, we got cardiac disease.
In the last 6 years, calls to Cook County dispatchers have nearly doubled to more than 700,000 in 2022. In that same time period, according to the Sheriff's Office, 911 calls have also nearly doubled to 221,000. That's why Sheriff Tom Dart says these spaces to decompress are so essential.
The public will never understand what these folks go through on an average day.
He says due to consolidation, this center now dispatches for 14 other law enforcement agencies.
In this case, bigger is somewhat better, but with that though, the pressures and the stress will also go like this. And so that's why these type of rooms really need to be sort of the norm.
In Des Plaines, Mark Rivera, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Even through the screen, you can see how calming those rooms look. And
I'm
just
so glad.
A few minutes of quiet, even
could
away
do a
from
lot for
phones ringing and people screaming.
I think Sheriff Dart's right. It's hard for us to even comprehend what they do. And we run some 911 calls over with big stories. You hear the dispatch. We were just talking about this during the story about helping a kid with their mother or helping someone deliver a baby. I mean, they do everything. They see and hear everything, and then they help. It's just, they're heroes. They're the unsung heroes.
And they're the ones dealing with in the immediate moment of panic before even the rest of the first responders arrive.
And have to stay totally calm. Yeah, that calming room looked like it might help. Coming up, pothole payouts. How much can you get if you file a damage claim with the city of Chicago, and will you really get that money? There's a good I-team investigation coming up.
Plus, a muddy mess closes a West Coast highway. More weather problems in Southern California tonight. A highway is closed in Santa Clarita today after a mudslide there. The area also saw high wind, and the county said campers and trailers just could not travel in that area. They cannot catch a break in California.
It's been brutal out west, whether it be snow in the mountains or like you see rain, mudslides.
Atmospheric river into a bomb cyclone.
Yeah, well, look at our sunset. It's a beautiful one today. Larry, all those terms, they sound intense, right? This bomb cyclone. And what was another one coming through? The jet stream.
Atmospheric river.
Yeah.
They're all meteorological terms,
Right.
but then they catch on with the media and they take on these of like scary connotations and stuff. And they are pretty big storms and messy situations. Bomb cyclones are the ones that when you say bomb cyclone, you think, oh my goodness, that's terrible. And it is a storm that strengthens real rapidly. There's actually a scientific definition for a bomb cyclone. It has to drop 24 millibars in 24 hours. So the pressure has to go down. It's pretty scientifically technical for you.
Well, but this is why we have you, because you help us learn.
Yeah, but that was in the meteorology books, a bomb cyclone.
And then what happened? And what does that cause? Because the pressure drops so fast, it causes precipitation, or
well, it causes the storm to strengthen.
Okay.
So you get
much
more
like a
precipitation.
hurricane, right?
Exactly like a hurricane. A hurricane can do the same thing. Rapid intensification of a hurricane is kind of like a bomb cyclone, but in that case, a hurricane. So,
we have learned something, Liz.
There's a quiz after the forecast.
I might do well on this one.
Liz is answering mine. Yeah, we're going to team effort.
Yeah, hey, but our forecast has no bomb cyclones coming our way, but we got some messy weather on Saturday. Tomorrow's going to be quiet through the daytime hours, 43 degrees, but we'll get some rain in here tomorrow night. That rain will switch and change over to a bit of snow on Saturday with a high of only 37 degrees, just a raw day. Sunday, partly cloudy with a high temperature of 49 degrees. So let's time out this rain and snow. Here on Futurecast, this is 5 o'clock tomorrow evening. Temperatures in the upper 30s and low 40s, and then we get the rain to spread in. And it will start as rain for everybody late tomorrow night into the morning hours. But as we head towards, say, 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, we'll start to see a change over to snow, first in the far northern suburbs, and then that rain-snow line will creep its way southward during the morning hours. So by 6:30, about a half of the area seeing snow, the other half seeing rain. And that rain-snow line will just linger over much of the area through the course of the morning. By the afternoon, it'll change over to some light snow showers for most of us. But note the temperatures still above freezing. So although we'll get some snow to fly, the potential for accumulation is relatively low, except for the far northern suburbs. That's where we could see 3 to maybe 6 or more inches of snow. These higher totals would be somewhat isolated in nature, but you get the sense here of where the snow is most likely to accumulate. And then there's going to be a sharp cutoff in those snow accumulation numbers as we go through the rest of the day on Saturday. In fact, you can really see that sharp cutoff with one of these forecast models. It shows upwards of 7 inches here up along the state line into southern Wisconsin, and then a quick drop off in numbers farther to the south. Now, where this heavy band of snow sets up is still a little uncertain. Could be farther to the north, could even be a little farther to the south, but right now I think up along the state line into southern Wisconsin is where we could see that slushy accumulation of snow from Saturday morning through the day on Saturday. Right now, though, we've got mostly cloudy skies at O'Hare. It's chilly. It's 39 degrees with a wind chill of 33, 36 at the lakefront. 37 right now in Gary and 42 in Joliet. Mostly quiet weather on the radar, a few sprinkles down to the south. Clouds have been thicker south of I-80. We've had some breaks in the clouds from the city northward, but we've got a really strong cold front to our south. Temperatures are in the 70s still in Nashville. We're obviously still in the chilly air with those readings in the upper 30s and low 40s. Tonight we'll drop into the mid to low 30s, and then tomorrow high temperatures, well, cooler along the lakefront. Inland areas will at least try to climb into the upper 40s. Tonight, though, after a high today of 48 and a low this morning of 37, that high of 48, by the way, came very early this morning. Overnight tonight, we'll see a low of mid to low 30s. 37 to 30 degrees will be the temperature range. 43 tomorrow, 37 on Saturday. Sunday, 49 under partly cloudy skies. We'll stay on the cooler side early next week, but dry weather for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Liz?
All right, Larry, it is pothole season here in Chicago, and you can file a claim with the city if a pothole damages your car. So just how often does the city pay out those pothole claims? Our I-Team consumer investigator Jason Knowles dug into the data.
You can file a damage claim with the city of Chicago if you hit a pothole, but is it really worth it? The I-Team is finding out how often the city is making those pothole payouts.
I hit a pothole, has a hole in the tire.
Joshua Gadsden says this is his 6th tire replacement in 2 years, all due to potholes. But he's never filed a claim with the city.
For me, the time and then the type of car I have, the rim alone costs more than the city's kind of limit.
The city accepts various claims for damage that are under $2,500, including potholes. But it does take some time and legwork. First, you fill out this claim form with the city clerk's office, including either a receipt for the damage or 2 written estimates, plus a copy of the police report. Chicago City Council's Committee on Finance decides whether your claim is approved and how much you will receive. If approved, they'll pay up to half of your costs. The city considers damage done by a pothole to be half its responsibility and the other half the responsibility of the driver who didn't avoid the pothole. Kuko's Tire Shop in Auburn Gresham says it has a steady stream of consumers looking for fixes.
It can range between 40 up to 60.
In a day?
In a day. Because sometimes, the cars may come in with 2-3 rims cracked.
Last year, Chicago's City Council Committee on Finance, which votes to approve claims, paid out a little more than half of what it budgets for vehicle damage claims due to potholes. That's according to data requested by the I-Team under the Freedom of Information Act. Of the nearly 1,400 claims filed with the city, 46% of pothole damage claims were approved. 37% were denied, and 18% are still pending. The average payout, $333.
For as much as we pay in taxes, it's kind of absurd that we have this many potholes.
The Committee on Finance says it reaches out to claimants if they don't provide the proper proof and give people extra time to comply. If you're denied, there is no appeals process. In that case, your next step would be to go to court and sue the city. Jason Knowles, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Oh, potholes. Have you had one in a while?
Well, before the car got stolen the other night. We just hit one 2 weeks ago and had 3 new tires put on the car.
Oh, yeah, because it'll mess.
We were actually starting to look into that pothole thing.
I mean, so 46% he said will get covered. So you got like a 1 in 2 shot of the city even covering, but it adds up.
Yeah, if you've got 6 new tires from potholes like that guy had.
Yeah, I've had some over, mostly on the expressway, and it is just a pain.
As soon as you hit it, too, you know.
Yeah, and it can do some damage. And if you've got those low-profile tires, forget about it. And they talk about, well, you're responsible because you see. Sometimes you can't see them.
No.
You know, and you just got to, like the big pothole on 55. Remember we did like breaking news coverage.
There are some deep ones out there that don't look as bad as you
until you hit it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a good story, Jason. Thank you. Coming up, Pride Night, but no Pride jerseys. The reason the Blackhawks say players will not be wearing these this weekend.
Plus, if you ever forget to cancel a subscription after a free trial, we have some good news. The process could get easier. That's ahead. We want to update you on some breaking news in Crystal Lake. A witness shared this video with us that shows the aftermath of a car plowing into a restaurant tonight. This happened at the Buffalo Wings and Rings on Carlmont Drive. Our ABC 7 Chopper HD flew over the scene just moments ago as crews were finishing boarding up the business. 4 people were taken to the hospital with injuries ranging from minor to serious. Police say the driver was trying to park, but for some reason kept going and crashed right into that restaurant. We'll have the latest on that tonight on Eyewitness News at 10.
Boy, those indoor pictures really show how far it went in. My goodness. Items from the once prominent South Carolina Murdaugh family hit the auction block today. Our furniture and decor from the family estate gained notoriety during Alex Murdaugh's murder trial. Jury convicted him of killing his wife and own son. This auction's happening in Georgia, and only in-person bids are being accepted.
Gwyneth Paltrow's lawyers asked questions today about missing evidence in the lawsuit surrounding a 2016 ski accident. They're arguing that Terry Sanderson is suing Paltrow just because she's famous. Sanderson claims GoPro video showed the collision, but the footage has not been found. Paltrow is expected to testify tomorrow or next week.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis doubling down on the state's so-called Don't Say Gay bill. The governor wants to see it expanded to all grade levels, including high school. The bill has many critics. ABC's Tim Pulliam reports.
Florida governor and presumed 2024 presidential candidate Ron DeSantis announcing today plans to expand a Florida state law banning classroom instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity issues to all grades, including high school. DeSantis proposing for grades 4 through 12, lessons on both topics would be prohibited unless they were required by state academic standards or part of a reproductive health course, which parents can opt out of. The White House calling DeSantis' proposed expansion to Florida's law disturbing and dangerous.
It's wrong. It's completely, utterly wrong.
The governor's announcement coming as 17 states have either established or advanced laws targeting the LGBTQ+ community. According to the Human Rights Campaign, half of trans youth live in states that have passed or are considering policies that would deny them access to gender-affirming care. In Indiana, loud protests at a State House committee meeting as legislators advanced a bill banning gender-affirming care for transgender minors.
I feel like I have something to live for. And now what? You're just going to take it all away with this bill?
It would cause far less harm for these kids to wait, get the counseling they need, and then let them make these life-altering decisions as adults.
In Georgia, the state Senate passed a partial ban on transgender health care for minors. And in West Virginia, the parents of a 12-year-old transgender girl fighting to block a state ban on trans student athletes from taking effect. Her mother telling the U.S. Supreme Court, quote, she is a girl for as long as she can remember, participating on girls' teams at her middle school, harming no one. A public hearing on Florida's efforts to enact the expanded school policy is set for April 19th. Tim Pulliam, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The Chicago Blackhawks have scheduled Pride Night for this Sunday's matchup against the Vancouver Canucks, but Hawks players will not be wearing their Pride warm-up jerseys. The team says that's because of safety concerns for players with ties to Russia. The country's president recently signed a law making it illegal for anyone to promote same-sex relationships. The Blackhawks are at least the third NHL team to forgo the Pride team jerseys. The team still plans to contribute to other Pride activities, including highlighting several LGBTQ+ groups. Well, canceling free trials and subscriptions can be a hassle.
The U.S. government wants to make the process a bit easier for us. The Federal Trade Commission proposing new regulations for free trials, subscriptions, and memberships. Under the new rules, you would be allowed to cancel the same way you signed up. And when a free trial ends, businesses would be banned from sending out unsolicited retention offers. Companies would also have to provide detailed service terms before getting your billing information. Violators would be fined tens of thousands of dollars. Sometimes it's hard to cancel a subscription, like really hard.
Or unless you remember to set some sort of alert reminding you completely forget.
The alert for me is usually the monthly charge. For the next one, I'm like, oh,
I got to get that next time.
Right. Yeah. A bit later tonight, the most popular musical artist in the world. This is according to Guinness World Records.
But first, a bald-themed birthday party that's raising money for kids fighting cancer.
Paris, France seeing its largest protests yet related to changes to the country's retirement age. Police and protesters clashing in the city today. The Interior Ministry reporting more than 100 police officers were hurt and more than 80 people were arrested. Polls show that most French oppose President Emmanuel Macron's bill to increase the retirement age from 62 to 64. He says it's necessary change to keep the system afloat. French unions are calling for new nationwide protests next week, which will coincide with King Charles III's visit to France. Buckingham Palace wants the King's trip to help rebuild relationships between England and France following Brexit, when the United Kingdom left the European Union. This trip is months in the making and is set to be the King's first overseas trip as monarch.
The I-Team tonight is looking at how you can save thousands of dollars on your credit card bills. Consumer investigator Jason Knowles breaks down the numbers and tells you what you can do.
Credit card interest rates are at a record high. However, according to Bankrate.com,
37% of consumers don't know they may qualify to transfer balances to a temporary 0% interest rate. It can save you big. Here is an example. Bankrate says if you moved $5,805 in credit card debt to a 0% balance transfer card, you could pay off your debt in about 21 months or less than 2 years with monthly payments of approximately $276. That's without interest. Now, if you try to pay the same amount per month with the average interest rate of under 20%, it would take you about 6 months longer to pay off, and you'd end up spending an extra $1,400 in interest. And look at this. If you pay only the minimum balance on that same amount of $5,805 with under a 20% interest rate, it would take you 17 years to pay off, and you'd hand over more than $8 grand in interest. So this is also a reminder to pay off those balances. Jason Knowles, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Jason, thank you. So this seems impossible, especially with construction on the Kennedy, but imagine getting from O'Hare to downtown in just 10 minutes.
Well, United Airlines is planning to make that dream a reality with its new air taxi service. The plan is set to start in 2025, and it would have passengers take off in an electric air taxi from the Illinois Medical District on Chicago's near west side, and they land at O'Hare minutes later, ready to board their flight. Archer Aviation is building these aircrafts, and ComEd is working on the infrastructure to power them. Okay, I feel like we've heard something like this before, pre-pandemic, when Elon Musk was talking about building that hyperlink, or what was it called, the Hyperloop?
Oh, that was going to go underground, the tunnel.
Whatever happened to that?
Yeah, it didn't happen. That was under Rahm Emanuel, right? And then, yeah, they even came to Chicago. Those look, I mean, there's not a lot of propellers. It's like a little drone that you get in.
But listen, with that Kennedy construction, not so much on the Kennedy, but the ramps getting on the past few days, I think you can sell a lot of tickets to that.
I think so. I wonder how much it'll cost, though.
Not cheap,
It's not going to be cheap. Yeah.
Not cheap. Tonight, a birthday party with a purpose. Take a look at this.
It's also a fundraising event for the St. Baldrick's Foundation. Dozens of people shaving their heads at Forest Road Elementary in LaGrange Park. It's in honor of Gwen. There she is in her 8th birthday. She's the one doing the shaving here. Gwen's been battling a form of leukemia since last year. She's currently in remission, but is still going through chemotherapy. A teacher at the school organized this event in her honor. She looks like she had a blast.
She looks great.
Yes, she does. And getting the shaving done for so many people who do this for a wonderful cause this time of year. St. Baldrick's helps a lot of people.
And we hope she stays in remission.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Well, the gift of generosity ahead tonight, the community service underway as Ramadan begins. Larry?
Well, we got some chilly weather in the forecast. Tomorrow, another cool day, a high of 43. We'll be dry during the day, but rain will come in at night. That rain will switch over to a little bit of snow at times on Saturday. Just a raw day with a high of 37. And then Sunday, a little bit better, partly cloudy with a high of 49. We'll talk more about the snow potential and who sees some of it stick to the ground, all coming up.
Today is the first day of fasting for Muslims observing Ramadan.
Many people in our area are making efforts to support their communities. Our Mayor Kawash with more on the special significance of the holiest month of the Islamic calendar.
A month of sacrifice for millions of Muslims all around the world.
Ramadan is a giving month. It's a self-discipline month. It's to be more humble, to be more giving.
For the next 30 days, Muslims will abstain from food, drink, and sensual pleasures from dawn until dusk. Daily prayer and spiritual reflection is prioritized, and one of the most important parts of the month comes with charity and community service. Some of that prevalent on the Northwest side today, with the Islamic Circle of North America feeding more than 250 people at this food pantry, with plans for even more on Saturday.
It's very good. They help every people every time, not just in Ramadan.
And you see the impact of this food pantry here, this line stretching down the block, at least 50 people here. This is something they do every week here at this food pantry, but with the start of Ramadan today, it becomes even more important.
In Islam, I cannot go to sleep, and I know my neighbor doesn't have any food or anything to sleep on, so this recharges us to give more.
The celebration of Ramadan this year is also unique because it's going to overlap with Passover and Easter, something that doesn't generally happen because the Muslim, Jewish, and Christian holidays are based on different calendars and calculations. Nonetheless, there's a special atmosphere that comes with these holy days of Ramadan.
I am very happy because I see the people, they pray, they thank God, everything.
From Rogers Park, Mayor Kawash, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
And more on Ramadan tonight here at 10. Coming up, the Cubs released their new menu items for the upcoming season. This story's ahead.
Plus, Courtney Cox didn't just play Monica. She acted like her character at the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Also, the efforts to launch a 3D printed rocket into space. I remember we told you this story. We'll see how it ended up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Sometimes life imitates art.
Actress Courtney Cox seemed to have taken on some characteristics of her friend's character, Monica. Take a look at this.
Literally right on the star. You can go around.
Cox posted this video of herself cleaning her own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 was playing in the background. Cox's character, Monica Geller, was notoriously a neat freak on Friends. Cox also wiped down the stars of a few of her famous friends, including Laura Dern, co-star Jennifer Aniston, and Reese Witherspoon.
Well played. There's people. It'd be, you imagine walking by and then you see her doing that, cleaning her star.
Right.
She's creative. Guinness World Records says The Weeknd is the most popular musician in the world. It's based on Spotify data. Guinness says The Weeknd has the most monthly listeners on the site, was the first artist to reach 100 million monthly visitors. Then it's several women: Miley Cyrus, Shakira, Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, Rihanna, The closest male competition is Ed Sheeran.
Really? Ed Sheeran? I would have thought maybe Harry Styles?
Yeah, up there. Do you guys listen to The Weeknd?
You know, when it comes on the radio, I still listen to the radio, actually.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Wait a second.
Maybe because The Weeknd works in a number of different situations or something.
Yeah, right. And what?
But Taylor Swift, come on, The Weeknd beats Taylor
Surprised
Swift.
Probably
she's
not
up
after
there.
this year, though, with Taylor Swift's new album and stuff. So.
Can I ask you guys about the radio? What is that?
In the car,
yeah, it's got a volume button.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just FM? You guys like FM? Yeah?
Yeah, FM.
I mean,
do you have a particular station?
if it ain't broke, don't fix
Right?
it. You know, terrestrial radio.
Free.
Right. Kind of like broadcast television.
right, yeah. I do like AM radio.
Yeah.
I missed the Loop. That was an awesome radio station here back in the day. All right, see, we're learning stuff about each other. Free radio. I'm going to listen to the radio today. The future of space could be 3D printed. The world's first 3D printed rocket launched towards space last night. However, it failed to reach orbit because of an engine issue. Relativity's Terrain 1 ran into issues after the engine expended its fuel, which meant the rocket didn't have enough power to reach orbit. The company wants to see future missions where 3D printed rockets can carry satellites into space. 3D printing rockets can be made quickly and cheaply.
Perhaps it needs a
It needs
little more
work.
engineering work. Back to the drawing board on that one.
It did, right? And I remember we did this story a week or two ago and showed how it was. I mean, it looks legitimately. It was well, maybe not. It was a well-built rocket, though.
Well, to get that high, I mean,
Yeah.
it still had to be pretty well built. They probably. The calculations that go into that are probably so precise that those engineers are like, "Oh my goodness, we're so close." What did we going over the math tonight?
What's that little tool they used to use in math class with the pencil? A compass?
Or compass.
Yeah. Just
Protractor,
tilted a little.
too.
Protractor,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what it is. Protractor.
It's got to get up pretty high to get out of orbit, though, right?
To get out of the gravity force to
and
be
through
able
the
to
atmosphere.
orbit. Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll try it.
Physics and stuff.
It's his thing, man.
Well, they're turning gravity into a competition. Jetsuit founder Richard Browning wants to form an international race series. He wants to see competitions in iconic places over water, racing on a slalom-like course. Browning says his vision is kind of Iron Man meets Red Bull Air Race.
Okay, that would be cool.
It's cool, but if they hit each other while they're flying, that would be really dangerous.
You would think they're wearing life preservers, right? Because you're right, and they've got helmets. I mean, that would be
This
so
like
much
airborne X Games type thing?
that is cool.
I don't know how you control them, and I just, that would. How high? What if you just keep going up? You like hit the brake instead of the. I don't know how that would even work. And you're up there.
Cool to watch though, as a spectator.
I think it would be a sport that people would watch.
For sure.
Get it out
It's
over
the
Lake
drone
Michigan.
Pilots where they fly the drones and have race competitions with drones.
Right.
It's like that, but with actual people.
Like human beings. Yeah.
There you go. And one day after the White Sox showed off their new menu, the Cubs released a list of what their fans can expect this season.
Maybe you already ate dinner, but we're always hungry on this show. So let's take a look. There's the crispy chick bao bun, chicken topped with Thai chili sauce, arugula, cucumber, and carrot. That
Ooh, a
sounds
little
pretty
vegetable
good.
in there. Okay.
Yeah. Greek loaded fries, gyro meat, feta, olives, tomatoes, and more. The burger brat, which is a bratwurst filled with ground beef, cheese, mustard, and sauerkraut. And the quesadilla barbacoa, onions and cheese on a crispy flour tortilla. I'm a brat guy at the game.
Yeah.
Right? You get a nice bratwurst.
Well, there's a burger brat now. You can be a little adventurous.
Gotta get more meat in there.
I mean, that sounds a little heavy for a hot summer day. Maybe next week on opening.
That's right, because that's coming and it's going
next
to be
Thursday.
chilly. Yeah.
Well, it's looking like about 50 for a high. Although it's interesting, the models next Thursday, some have temperatures like close to 60, others are in the 30s. So
that's a huge
No matter what at
spread.
Wrigley, it feels 20 degrees colder.
Always
than what
factor
it
that,
is, so.
especially with the wind off the lake. But you know, this time of year, these models that we look at, when you get out to like 5, 6, 7 days out, they're usually here or here in terms of numbers because this is the time of year when the patterns are changing.
Yeah. Right.
So they never lock on to anything specifically to give us a good sense that far out.
I think as long as there's not snow or rain on opening day,
Yes.
they'll consider it some kind of win.
That's definitely a win. Yeah.
See, it sounds like snow might be coming though
Saturday,
for us.
yeah. This
sticking?
Well, for parts of the area. It's going to be like we had earlier in March, around March 9th and 10th, when we had that heavy snow up across parts of McHenry County, and then the rest of us didn't really see that much. This could shape up just like that, with rain for much of the area, but snow up in the northern suburbs. So here's kind of the breakdown on what's coming our way for Friday night into Saturday. Rain arrives Friday night with some snow changing over in the far northern suburbs during the overnight hours. When I say Friday night, I'm talking about after about 10, 11 o'clock in the evening. So almost the entire day on Friday will be dry. Saturday, that rain will change to snow with accumulations of snow possible in the northwestern suburbs. How much? Well, the possibility is there for 3 to 6 inches in the northwestern suburbs, but then a sharp cutoff as you travel farther south from there, with maybe just a slushy coating across much of the rest of the area. And you can time it out here on Futurecast. The rain arrives again late tomorrow evening. There's 11:30. The showers coming up from the south. It'll start as rain for everybody, then switch over to some snow showers across the far northern half of the area late overnight Friday night into Saturday morning. And then that rain snow line just works its way southward during the morning hours on Saturday. Note the temperatures. Even where it's snowing, we're not too far below freezing. So this is going to be that heavy, wet, slushy snow. And as we head into the afternoon, more snow showers will be possible, but the temperatures, again, a few degrees above freezing. So how much snow is possible? Well, I think this is a decent breakdown, at least right now, of where we'll see the accumulating snow up across the far northern suburbs, 3 to maybe some 6-inch totals, maybe some isolated totals a little bit higher than that. But not everybody's going to get 6 inches up in this zone, but this is the spot where we've got the greatest potential for snow. And then it cuts off pretty quickly once you travel a little farther to the south, with the rest of the area maybe getting a dusting to a coating of snow. And this forecast model, the GFS model, I think does a nice job of laying out the groundwork for where the highest snow totals will be. The numbers probably a little on the high side because the models don't account for the snow compacting on itself and even melting a little bit as it's coming down, because temperatures will be above freezing. But it really shows this sharp cutoff in snow numbers from just to the north and west to out into northern parts of Cook County. So that's what we'll contend with for Saturday, a real sharp cutoff in snow totals for us. Right now it's 38 degrees, wind chill of 33. It's a cold evening. 39 at Midway, 36 right now at the lakefront, only 34 in Waukegan. We're dry for the most part, a few sprinkles down to the south. There are showers and thunderstorms developing downstate with severe weather back into Missouri. There's the cold front that came through this morning, knocked our temperatures in the low 30s and low 40s this afternoon. 72 right now, though, in Nashville. So chilly for us tonight after a daytime high today, which was actually early this morning, not during the daytime. 48 degrees was that high very early this morning. Low so far has been 37. Overnight tonight will drop off into the mid to low 30s under mostly cloudy skies, a chilly night. And then tomorrow, well, temperatures will climb into the low 40s, breezy with the rain coming in overnight. Then that rain changes and mixes to snow on Saturday. Saturday's high 37. Sunday's going to be a better day of the weekend, a high of 49. We'll stay in the 40s all the way through the middle of next week. There's Thursday's forecast for the Cubs home opener, Liz and Rob. About 50 degrees, maybe a couple showers possible next Thursday.
Or 30.
Yeah.
30.
Still got a
or
couple
60.
There we go. Thanks,
See
Larry.
what happens when we get there. Well, take a look at this. There's a new animal to see at the Brookfield Zoo. That's ahead.
Also, how corn is helping an injured bat recover next. Baby bats prepare to be released into the wild by eating corn on the cob. Look at this. An Australian woman's been tending to injured bats at her home. Says she's using the corn to teach them how to grip. And the woman's been caring for injured bats for more than a decade. Once the animals are ready, she releases them into the wild.
And look at this. Visitors at the Brookfield Zoo can meet its new resident, a western lowland gorilla named Jontu. Jontu came to the zoo in February, and now that he's acclimated to his new surroundings, he's ready to make his debut. Jontu is a silverback, which are known for maintaining harmony and breaking up disputes if needed. The Brookfield Zoo says Jontu is a very calm and even-keeled leader. He looks a little grouchy there, though.
He could break up a dispute, I think, quite easily. Yeah.
He looks a little sleepy there,
So
too.
cute.
Right.
Well, thanks so much for joining us this evening. For Larry Mary, I'm Liz Nagy.
I'm Rob Melgus. Great to have you with. You're back tomorrow.
Back tomorrow.
Larry,
Let's do it
thanks
again.
for being here. I'll be back at 10 here with Judy, and Liz will be with me tomorrow at 10 as well. Have a good night.